Working! Hey everybody, Tekking101 here. You may remember me from that time that I made videos about all the Straw Hats. And also about that blue-haired girl with the big boobs and a bunch of ships. And you also might remember me from the time that I made a video about all those heroes from that series with the guy that has the red latex glove or something, I don't know. So, I love making video series like that. I love picking out a group of characters from a particular manga or anime and being like, you know what, we're gonna give each one of those characters a time to shine. I'm gonna go through each and every one of them. The Straw Hat discussions, they were like an hour each, okay? I got my freaking fill in. And that's why I decided to do the same thing with My Hero Academia. We're going to be going through every single student in Class 1A. Of course, we got to start with class member number 1, Yuga Aoyama. Never stops sparkling, as his hero name is. Yeah, that's just rolls off the tongue, you know? Your city is being attacked by a bunch of villains, you know? Like, oh my god, who's going to save us? Oh, who is it at the top of the building acting so triumphantly? Oh, I know who that is. It's he who shall not stop. Hold on, he who never stops sparkling, he'll save us. Yeah, okay. Now, the reason I'm just doing Aoyama first is because he's just class member number 1. All of the students just have a class number that they're just given. It really doesn't mean anything in terms of, like, their power or their significance. Like, Izuku Midoriya is the main character, and I think he's, like, number 18 or something. But I just want to make one thing clear. We're not going through them all in that way. We're not going right down, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, really the only reason why I'm not gonna do that is because Momo would be last at classmate number 20, and Momo is bae, so I'm not gonna be waiting to the very end to talk about her. And also, I guess I should probably talk about Izuku a little bit earlier, because he's the main character and all that shit. Yeah, let's just get into it. What I'm gonna do is, at the end of each one of these videos, I'm going to roll a d20, literally just roll a d20, and whichever number it lands on, that'll be the next character I talk about. So, there we go. Alright, so, this actually works out, though, because we actually got some character development from Aoyama recently in the manga. There's gonna be heavily spoilers both ways for anime and manga, just letting you know, okay? Everything that we know about said character up until the current point in the manga, that's what we're gonna be talking about, okay? Aoyama is actually one of the first students we get to see during the test at UA. Midoriya, you know, he runs into the place and you have the giant robots. This is the test to make sure that you're qualified to get into the most prestigious school in Japan to learn how to become a hero, and Midoriya is looking around and he doesn't really know how to use one for all yet. So he's just like, what am I gonna do with these giant robots everywhere? And Aoyama just kind of pops out and then just uses his navel laser as his quirk to shoot down one of the robots with his art of seduction. Glorious navel laser, activate! Ah! Okay. I had to do that at one point. I just had to. Okay, that'll be enough of that, though. So, Aoyama's quirk, Naval Laser, it actually sounds really badass. You know, just the ability to shoot a laser. I mean, yeah, it's not like a Cyclops, it's not out of your eyes, or your mouth, or your hands, like a Dragon Ball Z character. But hey, there's worse places you could fire a laser on your body. I think we all know what we're talking about here. That's right. The back of your knee. It would be completely useless. I mean, you wouldn't be able to shoot it when you're running because, you know, your knee is bending like this and you wouldn't be able to see where it's going. It'd be horrible to fire a laser from the back of your knee. But, yeah, I mean, his belly button, that's where the laser comes out of. And it's a pretty powerful laser. It's able to melt steel, and it was able to blow up a robot, and so you think, like, okay, yeah, you're definitely qualified to be a hero there. But of course, there has to be some stuff to balance it out, so he can't just fire off his laser for, you know, whenever he wants, as long as he wants. There's a downside to this, and it's if he fires the laser for more than just 1 second, and that might not seem like a lot of time, but keep in mind, it's a laser, and it's a real laser, so even 1 second of firing that thing, maybe even, you know, less than that, like a quarter of a second, half of a second, would be good enough, would be sufficient to cause serious damage to whatever you're hitting. It moves pretty fast after all, it is a laser. But if he fires it for more than 1 second, he begins to get severe stomach injury. In fact, they actually state that it actually begins to, like, cave in his stomach if he fires it off a little bit longer than he's supposed to. And I'm sure throughout the story, as he improves his quirk, he will begin to be able to fire it for a little bit longer, but for right now, it's like 1 second. And he can fire it for longer than 1 second. It's not like a hard limit, but only up to 1 second harmlessly. That's the thing. So he's used to that. He's used to just jumping around, being like, oh, mon ami. He's also French, so oui, oui, monsieur, omelette du fromage. That's literally all the French I know. But anyway, yeah, he just jumps out and just, and he could do that kind of stuff, and it's fine. But whenever he has to, like, if he's facing off against something that's particularly tough, like a hard outer shell that he can't just, blast through with 1 second, he has to keep it going, that's when he's starting to injure himself. And also successive bursts. So he can't just, like, over and over again, it's eventually going to hurt him. It was also stated recently that Aoyama actually had some major problems controlling his quirk when he was a little kid, and this is kind of the development that he had with Izuku, because he doesn't know the nature of One for All. None of the other students do, except for Bakugo. Well, not really, but okay, we'll get to that when we talk about Bakugo's character. That'll be one of the longer videos, obviously. But Aoyama doesn't know about the nature of Izuku's quirk, where he got it from, but he knows that Izuku has a hard time controlling it. And I would be surprised that that's actually something that doesn't get brought up too much, because all the other students have had their quirks ever since they were kids. They got their quirks naturally, and they've had time to develop it. But then you get to Izuku, who seems to just got his quirk last week, and no one ever seems to bring it up. I would bring that up. I'd be like, hey, Izuku, what's up with your quirk, man? How does that, you act like you've never used it your entire life. I mean, he would probably say, like, I don't like talking about it, and be like, okay, I understand, but, maybe just Izuku has really good friends. But Aoyama could see, I was like, okay, Izuku has obviously a hard time actually reining in his quirk, and so have I. Ever since Aoyama was a little kid, he had to wear that support belt, and you see him wearing that even before he enters UA, before he has his costume on or anything like that. He has to wear this support belt, because as a kid, if he didn't wear it, his navel laser could leak out, and you could take whatever interpretation of that you want. That would be pretty awkward. I mean, just like you're lying in bed, and you're just like trying to get some sleep, and then it just shoots a laser through the ceiling, or you're at school eating lunch, just like, okay, pizza today, that's nice, boom, and then just, crap, it's rather embarrassing. If you're trying to hit on a girl, that would just suck. So he had to wear that support belt, and he had a little bit of a moment of connection there with Midoriya. And let's talk about Aoyama's personality now, because it's very erratic. It's very, what's the best way for me to describe this? I don't know if there is a way to describe this. In fact, Horikoshi has stated about this character, I don't really know what he's about yet, but he's fun to draw, so that's it. Okay, Aoyama is a kid that loves to be the center of attention. Okay, you can see that just from his sparkling kind of nature, his costume, very bright, very just, ostentatious, I guess would be a word. Whenever the USJ attack occurred, we had no idea where he was at the entire time. We have no idea which zone he was in at the USJ, if he fought a villain, we have no idea. But after the event, he just kind of like says to everybody, he's just like, I bet you're wondering where I was at the entire time. So he very much likes eyes to be on him, okay? But it's not in a sense of like he wants to be viewed as a badass or anything. It's not like it's like, man, you guys really need to see how awesome I am 24/7. No, maybe at the beginning you might have thought that, but as we get to know his character a little bit, it actually is a little bit sadder than that. I think Aoyama feels like, compared to the other members of Class 1A, he's not good enough. A lot of them are doing really courageous things. That might be one of the reasons why he kind of like looks at Izuku as sort of like a role model a little bit, because Izuku is always the person that jumps headlong into danger. Now, that's not really a good thing in a lot of, respects, just, leaping first without thinking, but Aoyama's sort of a coward in that regard. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if the entire time at USJ, when that was being attacked, he found a nice, comfortable rock to hide under, and he was just like, oh, please don't let them find me. Please don't let them find me. Okay. Well, if we survive this, I need to figure out an excuse, something to say what I was doing the entire time. Okay. So, And then after the USJ attack, that's when he goes around and is like, I bet you were wondering where I was at. And if somebody were to ask him, you know, what were you doing? And I think Tsuyu did ask him that, like, what were you doing? I think he said, like, it's a secret. And that's the best he could come up with. I think in reality, he was just hiding. He didn't fight any villains, and I think that might be a reveal later on. Like, that might just not be a throwaway gag. We might find out later on that he might break down and be like, that entire time, I was hiding the entire time. I was so scared. I didn't want to do anything. I was afraid that I was going to die, you know? And later on, during the training camp arc, we just saw the entire time he was hiding in a bush, scared of attacking. Like, he might have had a shot to take out Dabi or twice. He could have jumped out of the bushes, or not even jumped out of the bushes. He could have just blasted his naval laser at one of them. He might have got a shot out on one of them, but he was too scared. It wasn't until the very, very end, right when Mr. Compress and Dabi were heading into the warp gate, at the last minute, that's when he decided to act. And I think it was just his brain saying, listen, this is your last chance. You're gonna let this go down the same way at USJ. Look at everybody, man. Look at Izuku. He's got both of his arms broken. Everybody else, like Shoji's got like freaking second-degree burns. Bakugo's gonna be kidnapped. Tokoyami's gonna be kidnapped. This is your last shot to do something. Do something, god. So that's when Aoyama, he doesn't jump in, he just from the bushes, he launches his naval laser, and you can tell he's cringing too. He's just like, oh, please let this work! And he shoots it, and it dead on aim, he hits Mr. Compress right in the mask, right in the mouth, knocks out both of the little marbles he had, Bakugo and Tokoyami. Shoji manages to save Tokoyami. Todoroki tries to grab Bakugo, but he fails. Dabi grabs Bakugo, and then they go into the portal. But at least Aoyama did something. He's helping out. He's, you know, learning how to be a true hero, okay? So whenever Aoyama is, you know, acting all bright and dashing, like, you need to pay attention to me, it's really just from, like, please pay attention to me because, you know, I don't feel I'm good enough for you guys, and I'm just doing this kind of attitude just so you people like me, you know? And I think we've kind of all been there at a certain point where we just kind of want eyes on us. We want people to praise us. We want people to pay attention to us. I think we've all been there. And keep in mind, Aoyama's, like, I actually think he's one of the older members of the class. He might be 16 years old, but still, he's a teenager, you know? He wants that stuff. And he has a pretty eccentric kind of personality. That's the word I was looking for. He, was just kind of watching Izuku from his window once. Like, he's just on the veranda, just kind of staring in, watching Izuku sleep. And once again, that's not because... And a lot of people thought Aoyama was the traitor because of that. I don't think he's the traitor. I think he's just an eccentric kind of guy. Sort of like me. So... he's not doing it because he wants to be, like, creepy stalker or anything like that. Like, Izuku, my pretty. He's just, like, he's not good with that kind of social situation. He's a very awkward. He's like, I want to be more like Izuku, or I have, like, a connection with Izuku, but I'm kind of afraid to bring it up to him, so I'll just watch him from afar. Now, that is a creepy thing to do. That's an extremely creepy thing to do. But he's not doing it. He doesn't have any ill intention. He doesn't have any negative intentions toward Izuku. He's just shy, and he's just really awkward, and he's just like, I just want to watch you. Okay, bye. You know? But then later on, he does open up to Izuku, and the two of them kind of become friends. So that's good. That's great there. Now... What else? During the provisional license exam, he had a moment with Ida there. Him and Ida were, you know, there, and he shoots his laser up into the sky to sort of, like, distract the opponents and helps Ida out there. Every member of Class 1A manages to pass the first stage of the provisional exam, so that there was a moment with Aoyama there where he was sticking his neck out for another one of his classmates instead of just running to hide. Which is what he's been doing kind of up to this point. So, little by little, he's gaining the courage, and you need courage in order to be a proper hero, a pro. Not courage in the same way that Izuku has it, where I'm just gonna jump into danger, not even really thinking. You need to have a plan, but there's a moderate level here. You need to have courage to be a hero, okay? So he's slowly learning about that, and maybe Izuku at the same time can learn to, like, dial it back a bit, and maybe at least be better at formulating plans before you do that. And Izuku has gotten better at that. Let's talk about his costume. Alright, so Aoyama's costume is actually one of my favorites. He's got basically a suit of knight's armor, all decked out, super shiny, because that's his deal. I love the glasses, and the glasses actually do serve a purpose. They don't just look cool. Because Aoyama's naval laser fires off, it emits so much light, which on top of being an actual laser that can, like, damage structures, it's also something that emits a lot of light, so it blinds an opponent. So he has the glasses to make sure he doesn't get blinded. And also, keep in mind, as a hero, he just can't go around naval lasering villains in the face and blowing their heads off. He could probably do that. It's an actual laser beam. So yeah, he just can't go around and just be like cyclopsing people's heads off. So I would imagine a lot of times when he's fighting, he would probably rely more on the blinding aspect of the laser rather than the actual physical damage part of it. I can see, because, okay, villains are attacking a bank or something. Let's get the money. Let's get out of here. Aoyama, pro hero, shows up on the scene. Welcome everyone. Thank you for being my audience today. Boom! And then just knocks off, like hits one of the villains in the leg, like just singes his leg clean off. Like, oh my god, it's bleeding! You know, like, as a hero, you really shouldn't be, you know, gravely mutilating everybody around you. A better move would be, like, firing his naval laser into the sky, blinds everyone, like, what's going on? And then he gets up close. I mean, Aoyama needs to really maybe figure out other ways to fight outside of his laser. Because, yeah, his laser is badass. It's cool. How many times have I stated so far, it's a laser? But it's kind of like a one-and-done sort of thing, and only it can emit out of multiple points in his body when he has his costume on. That's a technique called laser buffet. So he has like these, like one on it, like two on his knees, like I think one on his shoulders, and he can, you know, direct his naval laser from there, goes through his costume and fires out at multiple places. So that's pretty cool, but still he's limited to only a few places on his body he can fire his laser from. That would actually be really cool if he learned how to fire it from his mouth or from his eyes or something, but I guess it wouldn't be a naval laser at that point. So, you know, you confront a villain. It has to be like the right angle in order to actually hit him, and it's like you shoot it for longer than a second, you start, you know, getting some pain. So he really needs to figure out another way to fight. Like even holding like, you know, he's all about the bright and things. Like carry some flashbangs on you. You know, carry some freaking just, you know, really bright and shiny flashbangs that you could toss in a villain's face. Be the light hero. You know, you can come up with some cool crap from this. Have a lightsaber. I mean, not like an actual lightsaber, but, you know, a really bright and shiny, like this is a bright and shiny little sword that I can attack villains with in close combat. Because if they get in close combat, he's kind of screwed. Like, if a villain gets behind him and, like, puts him in a headlock or something, you know, and the naval laser, if he doesn't get the right angle to fire that thing off, he's pretty much gone, you know, at that point. So, yeah, Aoyama needs to figure out another way to fight. What else? I bought light sticks. I was gonna use these earlier, but I forgot. Anyway, there's also the scene with him and Uraraka during the end of semester test with the different heroes. So, Aoyama and Uraraka got put up against, 13. So 13 obviously has the Quirk black hole, which sucks people in. So they were holding on to a railing, trying not to get sucked into to 13's black hole. And Aoyama fires off his lasers from his knee emitters. He's like, I can fire them off from all these points in my body. Ha-ha! But then he realizes, wait, it's a black hole. It can suck in light. So, crap. But more importantly, there was the moment where Aoyama says to Uraraka, like, oh, there's someone you like, isn't there? I'm like, isn't there a better time to be, like I said, very awkward, very not good with social interaction, and that might be what Horikoshi's going with. How a lot of teenagers, you know, they don't know really, you know, socially awkwardness. It's a thing that happens. I had it. You probably had it, you know? And that's just represented in Aoyama, just maybe dialed up a little bit. But yeah, you know, you're in the middle of an end of semester test. If you fail this, at that point, you thought you could not go to your summer training camp. Later on, you find out even the people that did fail still got to go to it, but at that point, you didn't know that. So this is like high stakes here, and this is like an end-of-term test. You gotta do this. This is the worst time to be like, so you're crushing on someone, huh, Uraraka? And Uraraka's like, ah! And then she falls. So yeah, not a very, not very socially aware, but he's learning, and that's all that matters, right? I think that's really all there is with Aoyama. Something else I wanted to do here, and I want you guys to do this as well, and this was a really fun thing for me to do personally. So, if you guys sit down and do this, I would prefer you don't just come up with this off the top of your head, because I don't think you really could, but rank the students of Class 1A. Alright, on your own personal, like, you know, the way you like them. It took me a while to get a list, and I'm not even confident in the one that I have right here. But, yeah, I'll rank them all from 1 to 20, and for Aoyama, I put him actually in my top 10. Aoyama is actually number 9. And I really put him in my top 10 because, while not as weird as Aoyama was, and like, antisocial, I was like him a lot in high school. I really didn't know how to talk to people, especially girls. In fact, I had this crazy problem in high school. I don't know if I'm the only one that had this. Is that, I thought the best way to get a girl to talk to me is I just stare at her a lot, and then obviously if she sees me staring at them, they'll talk to me. For those of you that are still in high school, and just a little tip for you, that's not the way to do it. Please don't do that. That's extremely creepy. So, yeah, I learned that the hard way in high school, and don't do it anymore. But that was my moment of social awkwardness at age 16. Okay, well, anyway, I put him at number 9, so that's my ranking of Aoyama. Where do you rank him? And you can come up with your own ranks here. That's fine with that. That's fine with that. And let me know in the comments below how you feel about this character. Now, on to what character we're going to talk about next. So this is just a simple D20. I don't have an actual D20 because while I'm interested in D&D, I've never played D&D. I don't have friends that play D&D, so I don't have a D20 on standby. This will do quite nicely anyway, because this way, you know, I can't, you know, fudge it. I can't, like, you know, make it whatever I want it to be. This is just from rolladie.net in case you want to look it up. So, Aoyama is obviously number 1. I rolled it until we got to number 1 just to, okay. So here we go. The next character from Class 1A, from My Hero Academia, that we will be discussing on this series is Rolladie! Rolling. Number 12. Who is number 12? Let me see if I know. Oh, is that Tokoyami? Hold on. Let me just make sure. I have the chart here. I just want to make sure. It is... Oh, no. It is not Tokoyami. It is, in fact, Jiro. Okay. Earphone jack girl. Okay. I can deal with that. I can rock with Jiro. Jiro's a pretty cool character. I didn't really think about her all that much, but yeah. All right. Next My Hero Academia discussion will be Jiro. So if you're a Jiro fan, make sure to, you know, catch back next time when we're going to be doing her. I have no idea when these are going to be. It honestly, to be straight up with you, it honestly just completely depends on the character. If it's somebody like, that doesn't get a lot of screen time and hasn't really appeared that much in the series, like Aoyama really only has like a few shining moments in the series, and that's it. So his video I knew wasn't going to be that extensive. But if I roll like, you know, Izuku, who's number 18, if I roll an 18, or Bakugo, who's 17, those are really going to be long videos, and I'm going to have to do a little bit more planning to see everything. I have to cover everything when I'm going to have to discuss there. And so those might take longer. But in terms of this case, I think we can get them weekly. I think Jiro's could be out next week fairly easily. I don't think there's a tremendous amount of stuff to cover with her. And that actually works out because Jiro just had a really good moment during the Cultural Fest. So that's actually a really good time for me to talk about Jiro. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Have a great night, everybody. And stay sparkling. Glow sticks.